situation that devastated the families, it is still happening there. Check out this headline. East Palestine residents told water was safe after sloppy testing paid for by rail company. We're not getting any truth, said one resident who is now planning to move away from the town. Now, nobody should feel like they're forced to move away from their town. When you have the fox guarding the hen house, in other words, to allow the railroad company to do water testing and then tell the people of this community that the water is safe. Oh yeah, everybody's spidey senses should be tingling, or in my case, my Wakanda senses are tingling on this. Now, thousands of people in East Palestine, Ohio have been assured by the State Environmental Protection Agency and Republican Governor Mike Dewine that the town's municipal water has not been contaminated by the train derailment that took place in the town earlier this month. But the only publicly available data comes from testing that was funded by the company behind the crash. Now, so if you having a moment, you are not by yourself. As HuffPo reported late Friday, the Dallas-based consulting firm AECOM or AECOM contracted with Norfolk Southern, which operates the 150-car train that was carrying the toxic chemical vinyl chloride, to sample water from 5 wells and from treated municipal water. And we want to thank Common Dreams. Julia, you're on the point. Now, according to aquatic economist Sam Bickley, the results are suspect. And I agree with Sam on this. Their results that claim there were no contaminants is not a reliable finding. I find this extremely concerning because these results would not, capitalize, underline, bold, underscore, exclamation point, message in a bottle on the train, would not be used in most scientific applications because the samples were not preserved properly. And this is the same data they are now relying on to say that the drinking water is not contaminated. Now, we got that from the aquatic ecologist. He said, don't believe the hype, basically. Let me just go and dress that up for you. Don't believe the hype of this company that's trying to COA, cover they behind. Y'all know what the A stands for. I'm gonna try to keep it as PG as I can. It's kind of hard. The testing was done on February the 10th, 7 days after the train derailed, and authorities began a controlled release of vinyl chloride, a carcinogen, to avoid an explosion. Now I want y'all to think about this. You ain't gotta be a rocket science to understand what is being reported here. The burning of vinyl chloride can send hydrogen chloride and phosgene into the environment. The former chemical has been known to cause throat, eye, and skin irritation, and the latter can cause vomiting and difficulty breathing. Now, I do want you to check out what the state senator from the area had to say when he was interviewed on Fox News. Take a look.
Michael Rowley, Republican Ohio State Senator who represents East Palestine. It is great to have you on the program. What's your first reaction from what you've heard now from the governor of your state?
Good morning, Harris. I think a lot of things he said really hit home. I really like the clinic opening up. I think we have to address the mental health aspect of it. Some of the things I don't agree on, but I think for the most part it was pretty solid.
What don't you agree on?
Well, I've been there 4 times. I live about 10 minutes away from ground zero. And every time I leave, I get a sore throat.
Senator Rowley laid it out. He said, now I agree with some of the stuff the governor putting out there and some of it I don't agree with it. Guess what? I'm getting a sore throat myself. So again, don't believe the hype. So A.B, some of your thoughts about what we're hearing so far and what, I'm sure you can understand as I do why the people of St. Palestine are not happy right now.
Absolutely. So I guess on the one hand, I would say, see, this is what happened. My grand used to tell me, when you think fat meat, not greasy. Because on the one hand, when you think about the fact that 70% or close to 70% of the county's population did vote for the repo rights, who were the main ones who took out the protections for these trains, right? So now it goes to show you, be mindful of what you are voting for and be mindful of the leadership around you. So that's the first part, is that why would we expect this train company to go and put out adequate testing when they could be held legally liable later, right? So when you think about, there are potential torts in this situation that the residents could likely sue for, because we do not know how this explosion or how the materials are going to affect them long term. There could be tort litigation that comes up later. So I wouldn't trust the testing that they're doing right now. I would definitely CYA, get a second opinion, and make sure everything is, everything is everything in that particular sense. In addition to that, when we're talking about the control burn, I think that, that was a tough situation, right? You had the option between allowing the explosion to continue and not being able to contain it, and then doing the control burn and being able to monitor the air quality at that time. So my understanding is that leadership is saying that they've been monitoring the air quality, real time, and it's not that dangerous. But then what about the water? And I think the water system is more concerning, right? Because they need that water to drink. Those residents use that water to take care of their animals, to take care of their land and the things that they need to survive. And we have yet to see a politician go and take a drink of the water there. So I think that is a real issue. In addition to, let's not forget, when we have these water issues, all of a sudden they get kicked to the wayside, because Flint still don't got good water. Jackson, Mississippi still don't have good water, right? So we need to be very mindful and stay on top of these legislators, and not just allow them to blame the train company, not just allow them to blame Norfolk Southern, right? Because they are not the only responsible party in this matter. So I think all of those things combined, the residents should be very upset. And I guess we'll see them at the polls in 2024, right?
Yeah, well, even before we get there, A.B, they got to bring some relief to the people of this city. And I get it, for me, I don't care who they voted for. The Democrats are in control right now, and these people cannot be left high and dry. And you're absolutely right. We do have a water crisis in this country, from Jackson to Flint to now what's happening in East Palestine, and soil concerns too, because this stuff will absolutely stay in the soil for many, many years to come. And it was refreshing to see Senator Rule not just agree totally with the governor, but to say, hey, my people need more than that, because that is his job, to advocate on behalf of his constituents. Now, the Biden administration said in a press call Friday that Norfolk Southern has not been solely behind the testing that has been conducted so far. So that is good to hear and to know, although not much has been released publicly. Now, a spokesperson told reporters, quote, it's been with the Columbiana County Health Department collecting samples along with Norfolk Southern and sending those as split samples to 2 different labs for verification. All right, so if that's the case, then, but don't go in there and tell the folks the water is safe when you don't 100% know whether or not the water is safe. And I think your point, A.B, about no politicians drank the water, which is clearly a sign. I would not drink that water. They shouldn't go drink that water. I think one of the most terrible times in the President Obama, administration is when he went to Flint, Michigan, and was drinking that daggone water. And that water was not cleaned in. He should not have done it. That was an error on his part. You don't just sit up there and play with people's water. So again, I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican, and I don't care how you identify culturally, racially, ethnically. Don't play with folks' water, because water is life. So you're right, that is a sign. They ain't drunk the water, they better not. Don't drink the water. We don't need that kind of show and tell. We need them to get these people some clean water stat. So it is definitely understandable why the East Palestine community would be leery of what they are being told. They haven't got, the only report that they've gotten so far publicly is what the company, the consultants that Norfolk Southern are paying, that they paid for, the testing they paid for. And as A.B laid out, they gonna try to cover up they behind because they don't want to be sued. They're gonna be sued anyway. Lawsuits are pending right now. Folks are suing right now. So it's just a matter of time. They going to court. They might as well just go and get ready for that. Buckle in, buckle up for this roller coaster ride. You are gonna be sued, Norfolk Southern, and rightfully so. And I hope to God the residents of East Palestine actually win against your behind. They're gonna sue you. You're gonna be sued, so get ready. And they already know it, A.B. They know they're gonna be sued.